Now, a vote is set to take place on setting up a bipartisan commission to investigate the January 6 riots at the U.S. Capitol. But one Republican opposes that commission. And joining us now to talk more about this is Georgia Congressman Jody Hice. Congressman, good morning. Nice to see you again.
And good to see you as well. Thank you.
Congressman Kevin McCarthy announced yesterday that he's going to oppose any legislation that would make a bipartisan commission into the riots. He doesn't want that to happen. Chuck Schumer then addressed the decision made by Kevin McCarthy yesterday. Take a listen.
Before I begin, I just want to say that I saw Leader McCarthy's 11th hour opposition on the January 6th commission. This shows how difficult it is to negotiate with Republicans. If the Republican leaders are just going to throw their lead negotiators under the bus, why do they even participate in negotiations at all?
All right, so I guess the most basic question is why now with this commission, and what's the real goal of a commission like this?
Well, the real goal ultimately is to do real investigation into it, but that's not what the Democrats are trying to accomplish with this January 6th commission. And for there to be any suggestion that I or any Republican downplays the events that took place on January 6th is extremely offensive, as it is politically motivated. And that's really the heart of what this commission is for the Democrats. It is a politically motivated tool, a weapon, whereby they will get a foot in the door to then accuse all conservatives as being domestic terrorists or threats for domestic terror. And we're just not going to go down that path. They refuse to look into the other riots that have been taking place across the country. This is simply solely an attempt by the Democrats to go after President Trump, conservatives, Republicans, and to put them in a basket of potentially being domestic terrorists. We're not going to go down that path.
And let's not forget white supremacists as well. And I'm not trying to downplay what happened on January 6th. That was tragic to watch that play out. But you bring up a good point. You know, we had almost 5 months of protesting in the summer of 2020. Many people lost their lives. There was violence in almost every major American city. Why isn't there a commission to study that? What's going on? What are the real motives behind BLM, which is an organization that started with great motives, but now as we learn more, we're learning other factors that are playing a role in those protests, those violent protests. Do you think that Kevin McCarthy's opposition will encourage more Republicans to oppose the commission as well right now?
Yeah, and in fact, there's a lot of opposition before Kevin McCarthy came out publicly, which I'm very grateful and glad that he did. It's good leadership on his part to come out publicly. But I would already say the vast majority of Republicans were already saying there's no way we can stand for this. This is going down the wrong path. This is a bait and switch type scenario, the intent of which is to name something with a good name to make it difficult for anyone to vote against it. But in reality, the intent is to set a trap, a snare, by which we then are in trouble. I mean, we are condemning ourselves for being something we are not if we go down this trap that the Democrats are setting.
Congressman David Cicilline of Rhode Island distributed a letter to Democrats planning to censor you and 2 other Republican congressmen. Where are you on that? Have you responded to the Rhode Island congressman?
I have not yet. Look, the things that I said about January 6th, and again, any accusation that I downplay that, I have forcefully condemned what happened on January 6th, as I do all acts of violence, and I will continue to do so. But in the hearing we had on the January 6th events last week, I simply laid out a timeline of events, what happened, when it happened. I put forth some reality checks as in counter to some misreporting that had been taking place.
Right.
And I shared eyewitness accounts. Everything I shared is factual. Everything I shared can be backed up, but it does not fit the Democratic narrative.
Yeah.
And for that reason, they came after me and some others. And again, it's just an attempt by the Democrats to weaponize their narrative.
Yeah, and I remember we talked a lot about that here on Wake Up America as it was all sort of unfolding back in January. Congressman Jody Hice, good to see you again. Come back and see us soon. Thank you. Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.